Hello and welcome to Laurindalandia. Today I'm going to do a reading about what do strangers assume about you. You can choose your pile by following your intuition. It can be the pile that you're most visually attracted to, or you can even ask in your mind, what is a pile for me? I do have personal readings, they are super affordable, and they're my first link in the description. Hello, by one. So it shows this card that says, help others without involving yourself in their problems. And it came in reverse. What strangers assume about you is that you are a very helpful person, and they also assume that you are a bit of a people pleaser. I'm not saying this is true, but strangers assume that you are a very helpful person and that maybe sometimes you lack boundaries. Basically, people assume almost that they can take advantage of you, which I don't think is true, but this is what they assume. I think, like, you probably are a very pleasant person, you probably are a very nice person, and that really comes across. And unfortunately, a lot of people take this like they assume that you will have no boundaries with them and that you will help them no matter what, and that will be there for them no matter what, and that you almost have this people pleaser vibe, which I don't think is the truth. I think, yes, you are indeed a very helpful, kind person, but of course you have your boundaries. Of course you have your limitations. But I think strangers, for some reason, assume that yes, like you almost have no boundaries, that you help them regardless. That also they can use this aspect of asking for help to kind of manipulate you, which again I don't think is true. But I think this kind of has to do with your appearance. I think probably you have a very like innocent appearance. Probably also look young for your age. There is a vibe here that they really think they can pull the all over your eyes, which again I do not think is true. They also think here, like, yeah, they really assume that you have almost no boundaries. And they can come into your life and take whatever they want, like take all your energy, take all of your accomplishments. Also, they assume that you have something that they want, like they assume you are a successful person, you are somebody maybe with money or as a high career status. They assume that you have something that they want, and they assume they can just come up to you and get it, which again I do not think is true. And I think this has to do not only with your appearance, because I think you have a very young, juvenile, innocent appearance, a very kind, which is great, but also there is some sort of elegance to you that strangers assume that elegance has to do with almost like being higher up in society, like having money or being, I'm hearing a CEO, like having a good career, having high status. Also, I think what strange assumes is that you come from money. Yeah, they assume, I'm hearing, things were given to you, which I do not think is true, but this is what they assume because of your youthful appearance and how you carry yourself, because you carry yourself with a lot of elegance. What do strangers assume about my pile number one? Yeah, they really assume here that you will not stand up for yourself. Like, they assume here that your voice is silenced. Like, if someone did you wrong, you couldn't go up to them and say, hey, no. Like, they assume that you couldn't tell someone off, which again I do not think is truth, but I think it's because of maybe of your youthful appearance. They think you cannot stand up for yourself, so they think they can come after you and yeah, do whatever, and you just take it, which I do not think is true. Also, they assume again that you have money. They really assume that you have money, you have a lot of money, like again, it comes back to the thing that they might assume that you come from privilege and that, yeah, things were given to you, which in reality, I don't think it is. Something also that I got here is that they assume that you are desperate for love. Again, not saying this is true, this is what strangers assume. I think strangers have a very wrong assumptions about you. And when they get to know you, they're like, oh, I was wrong. Even people might try to get to know you and come with this very take advantage energy. They come up to you and maybe they're very like, and when you start to know someone, some people might come to you and be very like almost bold and presumptuous in taking advantage of you. You're like, whoa, whoa, what you think that you can do that? You can do that. Like, I won't allow you. And they get shocked by it. But if you feel like some people that you meet at the beginning and you feel like they are like stepping on your boundaries very quickly and they have like the boldness to do it without even knowing you, that's the reason why, because they have these assumptions about you when they meet you. Yeah, something that people assume is that you are single and you are almost desperate for a romantic relationship and you will do like basically that they don't need much. For example, if these people are romantically interested in you, like they feel like they don't need to do much because you're going to accept the bare minimum. Like they feel like they can give you like a rose once and that's it. Like they feel like they don't need to put the effort because I don't know why they view you as someone that is desperate for love. Like maybe you have a lot of feminine energy and people are taking this feminine energy as being desperate for love, which is really weird. I think people have, yeah, a very strange, they have a lot of like prejudice that makes them see you very wrong at the beginning. Yeah, but they assume that you'll take anyone in terms of love because quote unquote you're desperate for love, which again I do not think is reality. They also assume that you're very well known in your community. They might even assume that you are famous or that, for example, your job as that you gain a lot of reputation, like a good reputation from your job, that you gain a lot of status from your job, and that people in your community know who you are. And low key, that, yeah, they might think that you are famous, like a singer or someone. Imagine someone, they assume that you're not someone that is like uber famous because otherwise they'll know who you are, but they assume that you are someone famous that they don't know about. You feel me? Like someone that is like famous in a certain area that they are not yet aware of. And I think this has to do with how you carry yourself. You carry yourself with a lot of elegance and a lot of like poise, a lot of like posture and like confidence. You feel me? And I think people take this in a very strange, wrong way. Also, again, they assume kind of like, yeah, they assume they can do anything to you. Like it's really weird. They really assume that you are a people pleaser and they can come into your life and wreck you, and you will not even like blink twice, and that you wouldn't like stand up for yourself. That part is very weird. What do strangers assume about my pal number one? Yes, they assume that you got it all. The life is kind of easy for you. That you're born in privilege or you live in privilege. They assume also that you don't have a big ego. They assume that, like, imagine, they assume that yes, you have a lot of money, you have a good career, you have a lot of status. But the way that you carry yourself, they assume that you are humble, which imagine, humility is a very good thing. Being humble is great, but I'm not liking this type of humble that they are assuming because they are assuming the type of humble that again they could step on, that they could treat you like, you know, like they can treat you poorly and you wouldn't stand up for yourself. That's what they assume. They assume that they could do whatever to you and you will not be capable of standing up to yourself. That's the kind of humble that they are. That's what they mean when they are saying humble. Because again, being humble is a great thing. But I'm not liking their perspective of humble, you know? They also think that they can take you out for drinks. They also think that you like drinking. And yeah, like they see themselves, especially if they are romantically interested, they think that they can like just buy you a glass of wine once and that's it. That's all I need to do. They think, I was going to say something crazy. And again, I don't think is the truth, pile one, but this is what they assume. I'm gonna say this. I even feel bad in saying this, but this came to me. They think you are easy, and I'm sorry, Pelwan, you are not. Ah! But this is what people think, and it's not the truth. It's not the truth. But these people are weird. I think probably you even feel triggered by that, because I think people really have assumed in the past that they could do anything to you, and you really had to put like some strong boundaries for these people, like, hey, no, like, I'm a person, I'm a human being, I'm gonna stand up for yourself. You cannot do anything. I think, imagine, you probably are a very beautiful person as well, and unfortunately beauty is objectified, especially if you are a woman. Yeah, people might really objectify you here when they don't know you. Like, they see you also almost as a caricature, because you are so beautiful, you are so elegant, like the way that you carry yourself, the way you compose yourself, like, is really weird, but people almost see you as not human. So because they see you with less humanity, they come to you with this weird energy of, I'm gonna do whatever to you, because basically they see unconsciously, this is not consciously, but like, what they see at first is that you are there to serve them, which is not reality. And I think this is a very unconscious belief system. I think this belief system is something that has to do with a lot of like the patriarchy. What is going unconsciously is that a person like you, especially if you are a woman, a person that is beautiful, elegant, and kind, just exists to serve them, which is not reality. These are the type of people that only respect what they fear. They don't respect like goodness and love. Like, they only respect what they fear. So I bet you probably a lot of times had to put some like strict boundaries because people were acting crazy. People will really act crazy with you, Pelwan, and you don't deserve it. And I think it has to do with a lot how you are first seen. And I'm so sorry, Pelwan. This actually, I think this really sucks, because I think people really have you confused. I don't think this is the truth at all. What do strangers assume about metal number one? These people are pissing me off. uh, Imagine they assume that you did not have to work hard for the things that you have, and you indeed did. Like, you have the things that you have because you worked hard and you had to put the effort, and you are intelligent to that point, you are smart to that point. But imagine, it's like, they see you as someone, they assume that you are extremely successful, but in their mind, because they themselves cannot achieve that success that they imagine you having, they think it was given to you because they themselves don't think that they can achieve it. So they excuse this, this person has it because it was given to them. When in reality, no, I'm hearing like, you are better than them. You are better than these people, my pal number one. That's the thing, is that these people are trying to like take advantage of you and come into your life and wreck your life, because at the end of the day, they unconsciously, I think it's very unconsciously, like, they unconsciously view you as better than them by a mile, by a long shot. What the people assume about my pal number one. They also assume that you had a great childhood. Again, like, they assume that your life was easy, when in reality it was not. Yeah, they also assume that you like forgive easily, and basically that they can do anything and you let it go. This make me angry, weapon number one. Yeah, they assume that they can do anything, and that you forgive easily and you let go easily. Yeah, which again, I don't think is reality. I'm sorry, Pawan, for what people assume about you at first, because it is really effed up. Let me know down in the comments if you resonate with this message. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you like this content, subscribe. I do have personal readings. They are super affordable. And then my first link in description. Bye, pile one. Hello, pile two. So you chose this card that says, listen to your inner voice. And it came in the reverse. What strangers assume about you is that you doubt yourself, that you don't trust yourself. You are probably someone here that is a deep thinker, that is probably very lost in thoughts. For example, when you go on the streets or I'm hearing public transportation, like when you are out and about, you are someone that is deep thinker, and people can tell that you are into your mind. But people think that you are the thinker, like they take that and they think that is doubt, when in reality is you just being a deep thinker, right? Like just liking to think. You might be a Libra here, extra confirmation if you are like someone that really ponders their decisions and thinks a lot. Yeah, people at first they see you lost in thought and they assume that's because you don't trust yourself, like you doubt yourself. Like they almost assume, really strange what I'm getting here. They almost assume that you are, for example, in a toxic relationship with someone that is making you doubt yourself, with someone that is gaslighting you, and you are like, for example, when you are on the streets, they think that you are thinking about what happened like before. They think that you just left the house of someone that is really toxic to you, and you're just like thinking a lot about what happened. I think, imagine, I think you are probably someone that has been through a lot in life, and like, it's not that you have a sad face, but I'm getting here that maybe you have like the characteristics, like, for example, I'm not saying that you have wrinkles, but like the prominent things in your face, not like wrinkles, but I don't know how to call it, but yeah, the marks of your face, like, and this is very unconsciously, like people are not thinking this consciously, but unconsciously they might think that you cry a lot. They might assume that you are sad, which, imagine, I think a lot of times in life, right, the people have been through a lot, yes, they have a lot to cry about and they have a lot to be sad about. But they also like the most happy. I think with sadness comes a lot of happiness as well, right? I think the capacity to feel sadness is the same capacity to feel happiness, right? But I think this is very unconscious, but people look at you and they see this sadness. Yeah, they assume that you are going through something, that you are in a toxic relationship with someone, and that you are like doubting yourself because this person is gaslighting you, that you are going through rough moments. And probably, like, I'm really getting here pile two. You're just a very thoughtful person that probably really likes to be intellectually stimulated. So you like to think a lot. Like, that's a beautiful thing, right? Thinking a lot is great. But I think, yeah, it's just that you like to think a lot. And probably you are also a person with a lot of like philosophical and deep thoughts, and probably you have a lot of also deep thoughts about like human condition and human existence, and like you question and you see like things in a very unique perspective. And imagine, you might have the bravery to see the really dark things in life and to really confront the dark parts of human condition, right? Like I'm seeing you almost as a philosopher, but people are taking this your philosophical air and they taking it as you being in a toxic relationship and that you were made to doubt yourself a lot. Interesting. What do strangers assume about my pal number two? Imagine they assume something crazy. They assume that you don't have a good connection with your intuition, which I actually think is the opposite. I think you're extremely intuitive. And when people get to know you, like they get scared of how much you know. Yeah, they get really scared that actually you are very intuitive and very knowledgeable. Yeah. They also assume that you have a lot of relationships, not only romantic, but you have a lot of friendships, that you go out a lot, that you have a big group of friends, which probably is quite the opposite. Probably you have like only a few, probably you even like to be alone, like, but they really assume that you have a big group of friends. They also assume that you are intellectual. Yeah, they really see you thinking a lot. I think first they take this thinking as downing yourself. It depends on the people. I'm getting like two different type of people. of people that strangers that assume this about you. Some people take this thinking into they are doubting themselves, and it's really a projections of these people. And other people see you thinking, see your like thoughtful air, and you lost in thought, and they assume that you are intellectual, like like this air of thinking a lot, and almost this face of like being deep in thought. For some people, like some strangers, they think it's because someone is gaslighting you and you are in a toxic relationship. And then other people think that you are basically an intellectual. They probably assume, these people that think that you are intellectual, they think you read a lot of books. Probably you have even some people that you get to know at the beginning, and they ask you what's like, even if you're not reading any books, like will ask you like, what is your favorite book, or what book you are reading, because they assume that you read a lot of books. Uh, Also, strangers assume that you are very adventurous. Like they might even assume that you like adrenaline sports. I'm hearing bungee jumping. They might assume that you like to do a lot of adrenaline based things. And I'm getting, they assume this, he has to do something with the way you walk. I don't know why. I think this is very unconscious. But I'm seeing someone walking, and I'm seeing them assuming that you like adrenaline type of sports because of the way you walk. I don't know like what's the specifics of it. I think also these people is very unconscious. They don't realize that they assume that you like radical sports just because of the way you walk. But there is like some sort of, the way you walk, it gives adventure. It gives adventurous. It gives, yeah, very adventure energy, like the way that you walk. You might walk with some sort of confidence, like you are ready to take on the world. Like, yeah, I'm hearing is the way that you move your legs. I don't know what is it specifically. I think also these people don't know. It's just like very unconscious, like body language type thing, that they see the way you walk, and like unconsciously, the body language, they assume that you like radical sports. Also, I'm getting here this, people assume that you sleep a lot or you take a lot of naps. Yeah, people also, strangers assume that you are tired when they see you out and about. And I think it has something to do with the thing of you being deep in thoughts, or maybe your face is like that face of being deep in thoughts. Some people might assume that you are tired, that you have slept well, or that you need to sleep more. I think this is imagine, this is a diverse group of people. This is really people in the streets that just see you walking by. This is a diverse group of people. It's not like just one group of people. These are many people. Like all of these assumptions from different people. I think you are someone that I also like. I think you are a very unique person, that people cannot put you in a box. So the way that strangers perceive you and assume about you is very different to everyone, because they are seeing you the way that they see themselves, and because you are a very unique person, they cannot put you in a box immediately. So you have a lot of different type of assumptions and perceptions. What do strangers assume about my pile number 2? They also assume that you are a boss, that you are a leader. There is a strong masculine energy, even if you are feminine. Like, yeah, they think that you are very a leader. They also think that you are a fighter. Honestly, the first impression the strangers have about you is that you shouldn't be messed with. They even might feel a bit intimidated by you. Like they assume that you are a boss, they assume that you are a leader, they assume that you're gonna fight. Like they assume that you'll be good at fighting even. Like if they mess with you, they assume that you'll be someone that will be really good at fighting and will win the fight undoubtedly. Yeah, they really assume here that they might even assume that you are a very combative person, which I don't think is true, but they assume, yeah, they, again, this is giving me a lot of different people. This is like not one person on one group of person. Like this is a lot of different assumptions and perception from different people. I think is again, I think is your confidence in your walk, the thing of kind of being adventurous and courageous. Some people take that as you being combative. They also assume that maybe you get into like fights in bars, like when you are drunk, which again I don't think is true. But yeah, like some people here are very intimidated by you when they don't know you. What the strangers assume about my pile number two. For some of you, they might assume that you are a parent or a mother, and they might assume even if you had kids, you'd be very protective of your kids. You'd be that mother that if somebody bullied your kid, you go to the kid and like scare them off. Like what do strangers assume about my pile number two? Yeah, they assume. Imagine they assume that you have transformed a lot and changed a lot, and they assume that you're not afraid of change. You're not afraid of like you're not afraid to break up with someone. You're not afraid to quit a job. You're not afraid to change your whole life around. If you like, they assume that if you don't feel good in one thing, like you're not afraid to leave, you're not afraid to look for better, you're not afraid to change. But they also assume that you change a lot. For example, you might be here someone that maybe lives abroad or doesn't live in the city of when they were born or something like that. There is an air to you that might feel foreign, and strangers assume that yeah, you went through a lot of changes in life, that your life changed a lot from childhood when you were a teenager to young adult, that you went through a lot of life changes, and that you are quite used to life changes and you're not afraid of change. You might even like change. You might even, yeah, again, it goes back to that adrenaline aspect. Strangers assume that you even like that aspect of life that is a bit scarier for some people. Yeah, they kind of like that. They also might assume that you are into, I'm hearing dark magic, but they like strangers assume that you might also be into things that people are scared of. Not for everyone, for like one or two of you, they might assume that you are a mortician. Like they might assume that you like things that other people are scared of. Let me know that in the comments if you resonate with this message. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you like this content, subscribe. I do have personal readings. They are super affordable. And they have my first link in description. Bye, pile 2. Hello, pile 3. So you chose this card that says, the obstacles have the weight that I put on them, and they came in reverse. What strangers assume about you is that your life is easy. Is, is that you have zero problems in your life, that your life is smooth sailing, nothing dramatic is going on, that you live an easy, peaceful life. I think there is an air about you that is very like peaceful, calm, grounded. Like the way that you walk, you might probably like walk like it's not like you might walk slower than others around you, but it's not, you're not walking like slow tired. It's like you are walking in a consistent calm pace. Like there is something about you that's also probably you have good posture here. Like there is something here that the way that you walk is very calm and grounded, and you have a slight smile in your face. Like it seems that your life is great. What strangers assume is that your mental health is great, your life is great, you seem peaceful, grounded, no worries in the world, like you are good. Imagine, even seeing like the strangers, like they don't think you are rich, but they think that you have financial stability to the point of not worrying about money. They don't think that you are like crazy rich, but that you have financial stability and that you are good with the amount of money that you have, because the way that you walk, the way that you carry yourself, it is with such like calm and peace and security. There is like no worries in the world. Strangers might assume that you have a great mental health, that you have zero issues with stress or anxiety. I'm also hearing you're bipolar. I don't know why. They really assume that maybe someone that is like watching this is indeed bipolar, and strangers couldn't like they will never guess it, basically. Yeah, they just assume that you are very grounded, very peaceful, great mental health, like no worries in the world. They assume that you are a great person. They might even assume that you are very like a person really into mindfulness, that you do yoga, that you have like all of this very peaceful. I'm seeing someone with this has a name, but I've forgotten the name of this gesture, but you know what I mean. Um, yeah, they assume that you drink a lot of water. They might even assume that you don't drink alcohol, that you don't take things that are quote unquote unhealthy for you. They might even assume that you don't take any medication because you are super healthy mentally, physically, everything. Okay. What do strangers assume about my pile number three? They might, for some of you, they might even assume that you work in some sort of like in courts, or that maybe you are a lawyer, like that you work with justice. I'm also here in prisoner guard, which is quite a disparity from calm, peaceful, grounded. But hey, maybe that's what they think it's needed in a court of law or in prison. I don't know. But the strangers assume on number three. They assume that you like flowy fashion, things that flow. Yeah, they really assume that you are great where you are in life, that you don't even want to change how your life is because you like your life, you love your life, like your life right now is amazing, is great, like you like where you are in life. They like even assume that, imagine, yeah, that you don't want to change how things are, that you like who you are, you like the life that you are living, you're not trying to seek something else, you're not trying to change, like yeah, you are good, and they also assume that, imagine, right now you are losing nothing, you are winning everything. Like they assume that, yeah, like life is really going good for you right now. This is a big assumption here. What the strangers assume about Natal number two. They also assume that you have not changed. Okay, not all of the strangers, but some strangers assume here that your life is easy, so you did not have to face obstacles, and did not have to overcome obstacles, and you did not have to change as a person as since you were a kid, because they are not calling you mature. It's not that. It's not that you are immature. It's not that you are childish, but it's like almost that your core personality didn't change. Like you have not been traumatized to the point of changing as a person, like that who you are is who you always were, and because life was easy for you, that you did not have to make a lot of radical changes to your personality. Okay, some strangers, not all of the strangers, but some strangers assume here that that you have a very caring mother, loving mother, and a very like a father that was kind of the leader of the household, and that was very outspoken. Yeah, but the strangers assume that my like that you might even be a parent here, that you might have children. They assume that if you had children, that you would be a very caring, loving mother, that you'll be great with your kids, that your kids will feel like unconditional love. I'm hearing that they will not be traumatized, basically. They will assume that you'll be a great mother that will not have toxic behaviors towards them, and that yeah, like they will not traumatize them. I'm also like, for not, this is very specific, not for all of you, but like some strangers here, and they might think that your pajamas is like nightgowns, that you like nightgowns. Very unique, very specific. Also, like strangers assume that you are very good with logic and making decisions, because imagine they look at you and they assume that you have a clear mind. So they assume that you are very good in making decisions, that you have zero issues in making decisions, that you are very clear in thought, that your thought is not clouded by difficulties in life or by stress or by trauma, is that you have very clear thought. Again, strangers assume that you don't have anxiety almost, you feel me? That you don't feel stress and you don't feel a pressure, and they think you have a very clear mind. What do strangers assume about my pile number three? Strangers also assume that you are not married. Even, for example, if for the strangers that think that you have children, they might assume that, for example, you are divorced. Yeah, they assume that you're not married. Also, they assume that you're not a part of any church, that you're not a part, like you might give a very mindful spiritual air, and they assume that about you, that you are into mindfulness and maybe even spirituality, but they assume that you're not a part of like any church, like you're not a part of like, yeah, any organized religion. Uh, and they also assume that you might not even like organized religion. Very interesting. Like, imagine, because they assume that you like your own things. They maybe assume that you are spiritual and that basically you are someone focused on spirituality that does not believe like in the churches, and that is focused on spirituality or mindfulness or yoga, that is focused on their unique specific things that give them a lot of peace and tranquility. What do strangers assume about my pal number three? I'm hearing they assume that they could date you very okay out of nowhere, not for all of you, like even like this is only some strangers, not all of you. I'm hearing they think they have, for like these people that think they can date you, they think they have what it takes to date you. They also like leave you as someone that will get bored easily, because imagine they assume that you are someone that is interested in your unique interests, and if they think that they are quote unquote normal, and that like they are like everyone else, like you will reject them because you would only give time and space for people that kind of share the same mindset as you. For example, if strangers assume that you are into mindfulness, yoga, spirituality, they also assume that you wouldn't care for any normal Joe. You feel me? Like you will care for someone that shares the same interests as you, that maybe is also into mindfulness, meditation, yoga, whatever it is. Also, strangers assume that you have like you are good with envisioning things. They assume that you have great ideas, very innovative ideas. Like they assume that you can give a big picture, that you can see a big picture. I think this comes back to have a clear mind. Yeah, they think you are very good at planning or envisioning things out because of your clear mind. But imagine there is a vibe here that they assume that yes, you could like envision a new thing, a new idea, a new project because you have a very clear mind. At the same time, they don't view you as someone that will take action towards it because you like your life now. It's like they assume that you have a very clear mind with great ideas, but that you wouldn't take action towards it because you are happy where you are now in life and you don't want to change it. Also, not for all of you, some strangers only, for some people, they assume that you are keeping a secret. And they assume that this secret has to do with some sort of thing that you envision and that you have in your mind, maybe something that you are doing or want to do, but that they are not aware of. Let me know that in the comments if you resonate with this message. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you like this content, subscribe. I do have personal readings, they are super affordable. And then my first link in description. Bye, pal free.